Hey there, and welcome to the Reclamation Room. I'm Ashana, and I'm so glad you're here. This is a space for women reclaiming themselves after narcissistic abuse. If you've ever felt like you were too much, not enough, or both at the same time, you're in the right place. I created this podcast because I know what it's like to lose yourself in overgiving, overperforming, and still wondering why it never felt like love. I've walked through trauma, toxic relationships, and the long road of self-reclamation, and I'm here to walk with you. In this podcast, we'll explore what it means to come home to yourself after the confusion and chaos of narcissistic abuse. Some episodes will be solo, others will include guest interviews. All of them will be honest, grounded, and deeply compassionate. So, whether you're just realizing what you've lived through, or you've been on this path and you're ready for the next layer of your healing, you are welcome here. This is not about perfection. This is about reclamation. I found that after we do the interview, a lot of times that's when a title comes or the theme. So we think that we're going into the conversation with an idea and a theme. And then as we talk, I'll look back and I'll be like, that wasn't what I thought it was at all. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. My podcast is called The Reclamation Room, and it is basically hope, like a lifeboat for women who are going through or who have been through narcissistic abuse, betrayal trauma, complex trauma. My personal theory is that we all have narcissistic tendencies to some degree, but those of us who have been through so many awful things, the conversations just kind of become what they become. And it's just to remind people like you're not alone. And that was shitty. That is shitty. Don't give up. Sometimes it's stories of hope. Sometimes it's just telling our story and seeing what wisdom comes of it by the end. It's typically like a learning and healing experience for both of us. So giving you that introduction of the show, I guess just hearing in your words, my favorite part of the show is hearing in people's words who they have become, who they are.
Okay, I think I can do that. Having gone through what I've gone through, I'm 43 and my entire life has been traumatic experiences, narcissistic abuse from four different people. It has shaped me into someone that has more empathy, compassion, understanding, patience, and all of the opposites of what a narcissist would be. I learned very young not to be that way and have just fostered that. It's been really, really, really fucking hard. But once I had my son, that's when I think everything blossomed into who I am today. It's just stacked. So yeah, I guess I'm a no nonsense, no fucks given when it comes to telling people the truth, because that is the absolute form of love, even when it hurts. It's really hard to talk about my good traits, but that's one of the things I'm most, I wouldn't say really proud of, but content with, is being able to help other people that way.
Okay, delving off here a little bit, I actually had two questions come from that. The first one being, did you consciously say, I don't want to be like these people, let me foster these traits instead?
Uh, Surprisingly, yes. I was about 8 or 9 years old, and this is going to be a little short story time. So I was 8 or 9, and I was sitting out on the front porch of our trailer, and I had my cat, and he scratched me, and it was like, boom, instant trigger. Started to whack the hell out of his head. And then I
Mm.
stopped and I was like, what the hell am I doing? Of course, he ran off. I started crying and I'm like, I wanted to comfort him, be like, I did not want to do that. And so at that moment, God, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it because it's like it was yesterday. At that
Wow.
moment, I was like, I don't want to be like him. This is the main abuser. And I'm never going to do that again. And that was it. That was my lifetime vow to not be the same kind of person he is to this day.
Wow, at 8 or 9 years old,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
level of Self-awareness, but also self-control.
Well, I mean, that's a heavy this or that because yes, it's a self-control, but it's also kind of detrimental because I have suppressed my anger my entire life. That's not healthy either.
Yeah.
At least I haven't been hurting other people. That's absolutely my saving grace in that.
Yeah, listening to that, a 9, 8, 9 years old, deciding, okay, I'm not going to act that way. You don't have that many tools to cope with what's going on inside.
Yeah,
You have sheer force of will. I'm not going to let that come out on the outside.
yeah,
Then what happens on the inside?
yeah. It rots.
I feel like there is a fine line between being able to be honest with people and say, hey, that was a dick move. Maybe don't do that. Versus people do say, you think you have all the answers and you think you're better than everyone. I've had to feel that a lot too. And
Yeah,
of course, growing up and realizing, wow, I really don't know that much at all.
we
But
all
I
go through that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You hit that phase where you're like, I am so dumb and I am so okay with that suddenly. But you do have that feeling inside of like, I know that didn't feel good. I know that wasn't right. That wasn't nice. That's not how we treat people. What is the fine line there? And in your words.
Just the way you approach it. Because we don't know everything. I don't know everything, but I'm definitely going to stand up for the little guy or the victim or myself
Yeah.
if harm has been done, and if the other party isn't willing to receive it, then so be it. And we can either part ways or I won't interact very much anymore.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I would
hope that
hope
answered
that.
the question anyway. I
Yeah.
know that's,
No,
yeah,
I mean, I feel like there's tact there, and then you want to
yeah,
make sure that you're on the same page as the person, but there's also some level of feeling the person out and
hmm
being connected to people.
yeah,
Okay, so let's see. We talked about kind of internalizing your anger and it
mhm.
festered. What did that look like in your life? So we would say this would be the effects of trauma and how you coped with them in the way that you could at that age. What did that look like moving forward?
I have to, there's layers to that as well because the anger is down in there real deep, and then not being able to express any other kinds of emotions that exacerbated it. Okay. I fully believe that those unexpressed emotions, especially the anger, manifest physically because right now I'm disabled. I'm working on getting disability. I can't have a job because I can't stand up long enough to do it. Like, I had to quit riding motorcycles, and that was one of the biggest blows ever. But it's been a slow progression over the last 10 years of my body just, okay, we're tired of this and we need to release it somehow.
Yeah,
So my body's taking the brunt of that because I don't want to harm anyone else. That's one of my that's my top motto, harm none. And because I don't want to do that, it's internalized and expressing in physical pain and physical issues and just yeah. I think that has a lot to do with so many people's physical ailments and things. I mean, if you think about it, you encounter a stressful situation, a couple days later you get a cold, you know?
yep,
I believe that stress and unexpressed emotions and all sorts of things can manifest physically if you're not able to get those out properly and in
absolutely.
a healthy way.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why we have different modalities of, the liver is associated with anger and the lungs are associated with grief. I'm
Yep.
wondering, you're in this place, you're aware of the anger, you're
Yeah.
able to name it. You're
Yeah.
like, yep, this has been in here. Okay, this has taken away the things that were important to me. Can't ride motorcycles anymore. Where are you at now?
I would say the biggest step that I took about a year ago, I moved here to Colorado and I got away from the plague, is what his nickname is. Okay. Because I avoid him as such. So I had actually moved out of the house with my parents and I moved in with a friend with my son. And when I moved out here to Colorado, it was like, boom. I cut I cut him off completely. No contact. I've got like a 10-page cathartic letter to him that I have been working on for years and finally got to a point where, this is exactly what I want to say. And someday, if I want to, I'll send it to him, but I don't need to because it's for me. So, yeah, I would say my first step was writing cathartically. My second step was getting the hell away from him, cutting off all contact. And right now, I guess I'm in the third step, which is therapy.
Yeah.
So I have trauma-informed yoga that I go to weekly, trauma art group therapy that I go to weekly, regular talk therapy that's every couple of weeks, the groups that we do weekly, women's group, I love that so much.
Me
That's
too.
weekly.
Yeah.
And then I have IFS EMDR, and then I have the couples counseling with my boyfriend. So I would say that the women's group, the EMDR, and the art therapy and the yoga, those four, all brand new to me, less Colorado, but those are necessary for as much trauma as I've been through and help me in different ways than it would just go into regular therapy. I always recommend regular therapy because talking is important
It's the
to get
first
it
thing we
out.
do. We make noise when we're
Exactly.
born. We cry. We use our
Yes,
voice.
expressing it. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. But yeah, it's art therapy is the one that kind of pings off because they have a topic every time, and one of them was anger. And as soon as I saw the word anger on the little packet that she handed out, I burst into tears. Everything just came out looking at the word, and I'm like, what the actual is going on? You
Is
know?
this a sign?
This is a sign. And yes. But yeah, that's definitely how I would progress. Like expressing it in writing and therapy, those are both tantamount to getting it. As I always say, there's more room on the outside.
Yep.
Crying, talking, writing, art, just absolutely put yourself into something that can bring you into the moment and get that stuff out. Even
Yeah.
if it doesn't go away completely, you know,
Yep.
baby
Chip
steps.
away at it.
Yep. You have to if you've got 43 years of it.
I think that's really helpful for people also because, we hear therapy and it's like, wah, 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 wah,
Yeah.
and, art therapy, I feel like that would be intimidating to me, but I would totally do it.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, the first 4 weeks were intimidating. I do like to do art things. I don't think I'm like super fantastic at it or anything, but art is an expression of who you are because it is so individualized. But those first 4 weeks we did watercolor, and I fucking hate watercolor because you cannot control that shit.
Yeah.
And that's a huge issue for me is that loss of control. And it was so healing,
Yeah.
surprisingly healing, that I bought a bunch of watercolor shit. And I was like, I'm gonna do
Wow.
watercolor stuff because I know I can't control it.
Yeah.
When I practice watercolor, that sense of freedom from having to be in control all the time, more goosebumps on that.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
Listening to you describe this, I'm excited for people to hear this.
cool.
This is what people need, the real
Yeah.
experience. And I could see that. Oh my gosh, the need for control. And then you jumped in and like that's what they were doing right then. Like, okay.
Like, thanks for throwing me in the water.
Yeah.
Here you go. Learn how to swim.
Forgot my life jacket.
Yep. I want arm floaties. I think that would be fantastic. They need to make those for adults.
Man, okay. Well, maybe we'll name this episode Here's Your Arm Floaties.
Yeah,
Welcome to
I
the
like
deep
that.
end. Let's jump off.
Right?
Okay, let me see. I have some questions.
Okay.
So, you're familiar with inner child work, parts work, the
Yes.
concept that your children that you were are still within you. If your inner child had a seat at the table right now, what do you think she would want to say about where you are in your healing?
That's a rough one. Well, because I've been doing IFS with Erin, she's brought a lot of those parts out. And so we've named a bunch and worked with them, and it kind of feels like having multiple personalities, and it is really like not super uncomfortable because I'm into this, but it's weird. And I'm always saying that it's when I'm closing my eyes and listening to what she's trying to bring out and telling her the things and the parts that come up, it just feels weird, but it works so fucking well that I just get blown away every single time. And it's gonna be weird because I gotta close my eyes and picture this because that's just how we do it. That's how I do it. What was the second half of that? If I had a seat at the table,
What do you think your inner child would have to say about where you are in your healing?
holy shit. Not just because of how much pain and trauma and just all of that negative stuff that I've gone through, but the flip side of that and the things I'm participating in now and how I'm working at healing myself because nobody else is going to do that. Unfortunately, we can't just push an easy button and we can't make the people that harmed us fix it. That's been a source of contention very recently with therapy, is how unfair it is that I have to pick up the pieces and put them together. However, that also means I get to put them back how I want. Okay. I get to glue them together and God, I wish I could remember the name of it. There's a practice in Japan where
The glue, the gold,
the gold, yes,
they melt the
there's a
gold.
term for that. You're gonna look it up while I describe it. I saw you going, yeah. So you get a broken piece of pottery and they use gold to repair it and put it back together. Now, I'm not a gold person. I'm more on the silver side, but I the idea of just picking these pieces up and putting them back together is like artwork for me. So,
Kintsugi.
Insuki, yeah,
Mhm.
spell it.
Kintsugi.
Kintsugi. Yeah. I don't know how to say that in Japanese, but
Also known as kintsukuroi.
it's
I,
it's a
I do
lot.
not
Oh,
speak
yeah, right.
Japanese. I apologize to any listeners who.
Who are Japanese and we mispronounced it. Yes.
Wow, she butchered that.
Yeah.
That's funny. I love how you said that you get to be the one to choose how the pieces go back together.
Yep.
I've never heard someone say that before.
That has that's another recent thing that just came into my head. And it was probably at art therapy because we were talking about, I know it was centered around trauma and what it does to you. But yeah, I can't remember. That's another thing trauma does is
It does.
holy Swiss cheese memory.
Does do that.
Yeah, especially when you're like right in the thick of it.
Yeah, mine manifested weirdly in me. I think I would remember conversations verbatim to the point of being able to say it back to you with my inflection, your inflection, my inflection. Like, I could not remember the things that were shitty that I went through. I would just be like, I don't remember any of this. Oh my gosh, let's go back and do it again. And I'm like, this is
Yeah,
helpful. This superhuman strength that I have to remember things and then not fun.
and your brain's like, we're just gonna get rid of that
Yeah.
so that you
Yeah.
could do it again.
Yep. I don't think you learned it enough the first time.
Yeah. Let's learn this numerous times over. Yeah.
Mastery, my friend. Okay, well, let's see. Okay, I did have one more question before I change subjects. So, from what I'm hearing, a lot of your trauma centered around one person.
Yeah. I would say, well, my whole life for him and half my life for the two serious relationships and then one, I call it a one-off. That one's hard, but yeah, that was like 3 months of hell. So it's like 40 some odd years of the plague and then the last half with those other three and the current one. Yeah. Not narcissistic though. I'll just say that I
Yeah.
don't think that he's a narcissist, but tendencies, yeah,
You do be like that sometimes.
it do.
So, this one central person, my question is the dynamic that was there with him. How did that inform or influence the dynamics that then you carried out in your adult life or had happen around you in your adult life?
Well, I'm gonna dip a little into a psychology thing. I am a whore for psychology and brain things.
Here for it.
Yeah. So when someone says daddy issues or mommy issues, I get a little twitchy about it, but the fact is, we often find partners in our adult lives that were very similar to our opposite sex parents. I think Freud is one of those that delved into that, but I couldn't quote that. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, my marriage um to gravity, which because he's always bringing me down. That was coined by my last ex, but it fits so hard. He was like a milder version of the plague. And the plague is my father, but I don't call him that because he doesn't qualify. He was not a good person. So, father figure, no. Dad, no. That's why he has a nickname because I was like, I don't want to call him by his name. I don't want to call him by titles he didn't earn. But yeah, it's weird how we gravitate towards that that comfortable
Mhm.
familiarity,
Yep.
even when it's detrimental. And that is exactly what I did with my ex-husband until I took the bull by the horns and got out of it. And then the same thing happened with my last ex, but he was worse. He was a lot more like the plague. And in there, when we were actually boyfriend and girlfriend, we broke up for 3 months, and there was another one that qualified me for the Me Too movement. 3 months of literal psychological terror and torture and manipulation until I finally got the hell away from him and went back to my ex. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that that has a huge impact who we had as parents. And thinking about it, like my 8 or 9 year old self vowing to never be like him, and then yet here I am picking these, sorry,
No.
these fucking assholes that are just like this guy because it's familiar. It just that's all I can say that would even explain it, you know? Because right now, I wouldn't choose them.
Yep.
But that's another thing with narcissists is they put on that charm until they hook you, and then you're set until you finally get out.
Yeah.
And that is so hard to do. So hard. Yeah.
Well, I think it speaks to the heart of a child that even though you said I'm not going to be like that, you still had that sense of seeking, of yearning, of trying to fill a hole, trying to have a connection, and
Yeah.
it was familiar to you. And it
Mm.
just that's why in everything that I do, like I find it so hard to be truly angry with people sometimes because it's like I understand.
Yeah.
It sucks and I understand.
Yep. That's speaking on that a little bit is back to the first question and what you just said. Part of who I am is I've been through the ringer so fucking hard and so long that I'm at a point in my life where I can see exactly what my boyfriend went through in his life, why he is the way he is,
Yeah.
the things that he's suffering now. Actually, I started off with my friend Ursa. She's my absolute mentor, okay? And the first thing that I was like, we're both empaths. We both know what's going on, but I need someone to tell me the truth. I don't have anybody in my life that will do that. Everybody wants to gloss it over, blow smoke up my ass. I need the truth. I want to
Yeah.
grow, and I'm not going to do that if I don't know what the hell I'm doing. You can't grow if you don't know. Okay? Yeah, I've lost my train of thought. Train has derailed.
Let's see. You've been through a lot of shit, but you still see the best in people.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. That is why I have that sort of truthiness about me with people. It's because of Ursa,
Hmm.
you know. But it's also like giving people more chances than sometimes they might deserve. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did that with my ex-husband. I did that with the Dementor. We'll see how it goes with this one. But it's so hard because it's like I know what you're dealing with and why you react the way you do, but you don't have to. Eventually, when you do the work, you can get to a place where you are more compassionate and empathetic for the people you've hurt, and you choose to do better.
So I think what we've established here is that we grew up with empathy and compassion, and we have both sought to help people learn how to have more empathy and compassion.
Sometimes to our own detriment. Well, not me.
What could possibly go wrong, right? Okay. Well, okay. Let's see. I'm going to pull up your blog.
Sure. Oh man, blog time.
Blog time.
Yay.
So I know that in processing everything and just I recently had a sweet dude on the show, Justin, and he has an interview series and a website where he talks about sense making and meaning and purpose. And we had a great conversation of like that's what we do. We're
Mhm.
looking for sense, meaning, and purpose. And it can become more clear to us as we process things and as we take that next step and learn what we enjoy and what feels good and weaving together these conversations with people. So to me, my take on your blog when I visit it is this is your journey in sense, meaning, and purpose making.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I want to know what it means to you.
So, I will go to the inspiration of it first, because since I started with Ursa, she and my therapist have all been trying to get me to journal. Okay. I have notebooks, I have pens, I have all the shit. Okay. And I just can't commit to it. Like I can write. I love writing. Writing is just, I think that is my core purpose,
Mm-hmm.
meaning. But yeah, I just what started it was I got on my computer and I was like, if I can't use notebooks and pen and paper, whatever, then I need to do this on my computer where I can type it faster and my thoughts can just spill out and because writing with your hand it just takes forever. So I was like, okay, well, what kind of app can I get on my computer to do this to journal every day?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wonder what WordPress is like because I put a couple entries on that ages ago too, just random shit. So I just went there, signed up for a new thing, paid for a year's subscription, and that's where it was. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to commit to doing this daily.
I was about to say that's a huge commitment. You
It
paid
is
for an
a
entire
huge
year.
commitment, okay? And I was like, but I paid money for it,
Yep.
and
Yep.
it wasn't a lot, and their kismet, serendipity, I don't know, but they had a special going, so it was a lot less than usual, and I didn't know the first thing about how to work WordPress, and some of it was like really frustrating, but I like to learn it, and I've learned as I went, and I've adjusted since I started, and I couldn't tell you how many days I've missed because there's so few. But with paying that money and committing to it, that determination and making it a morning practice, I can say that I've successfully been doing this for 4 months now. Yeah, 4 months. I had to count. So it might seem small to some people, but for me, it's a huge deal because it's a commitment. And just being able to go on there every single day and write about whatever I need to write about in my own style you know,
Yeah.
is it starts the day. I wouldn't say it starts the day off right because there are some days where I'm like, ugh,
Fuck this.
fuck
Do
this, fuck
this.
that, fuck exactly. There's been a lot of more of that recently, but
But
um,
hey, you're journaling.
but I'm journal exactly. And that's like weird for me, but also sometimes I have side quests and sometimes I just go off the rails and ramble. But it's me, and I love that I can do that and just throw it out there for anybody to read,
Yeah.
because I'm not committed to like my readers or anything like that. This is my thing, and if people like it, great. If not, at least I'm doing it for myself. So I don't know if that answers your question. I'm going to say that a lot, but what was the question?
I don't know
Okay.
what my question was. I think you answered it just fine.
Okay.
I think that you write relatably, and I think
Yeah.
that's really refreshing in a world where AI is like padding it's like we're all in padded rooms, okay?
Yeah.
Like this AI, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we need more people who are real.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel too like a lot of my clients, I'm like, let's work on these journal prompts. And I can't tell you how many times someone has looked at me and been like, mm-hmm, knowing full fucking well that like I know that they know that we know we know that there will be no journaling happening.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I like WordPress too. They do have at least 10 journal prompts available on the dashboard. So you can scroll through them and be like, okay, I like that one. I can write on that. So if I'm having an off day and I just don't have jack shit for inspiration, I'll scroll through there, I'll pick one, I'll write about it and post it, and then I'm done.
I like that.
Yeah. Most of it is my own writing though.
Well, I think that that's again refreshing. And I feel like if people do go look, because sometimes I feel like it takes that nudge. Like I said, even with art therapy, like that would have been really intimidating for me. But listening to you and talking about the watercolor and that loss of control, now I'm like, maybe I should find some art therapy in my area.
Yeah. I highly recommend it. Even if you're like the antithesis of an artist.
Yeah.
I do highly recommend it, especially if you've gone through trauma, because it brings you into the moment and it makes you focus on something. And you'll have so much internal struggle when you're doing it. If you have confidence issues in your art, I do too, but that a good therapist will emphasize you're not getting graded. You're not getting judged. Don't judge yourself. Just feel your feelings and express yourself with your art. That's it. This is a
Yeah.
safe space for that.
I feel like that applies to writing too, when we're writing
Hmm.
how we feel. So
Yeah.
I think that's really helpful. Okay, you have written on your blog about things like emotional exhaustion, betrayal, medication changes. So, a question, when the world starts to feel too heavy, what do you do with the parts of you that might want to just shut it all down or make it go away?
Coping skills?
Look at you getting to the root of what I'm saying. My thinly veiled questions
Oh,
here.
right. Um, so one of the things that I use to cope when it's so heavy is gaming. I like survival crafting games. I've mentioned Minecraft already. That's the
Yep.
core one. Love Minecraft, but I'm in a phase where I play Valheim. So it's kind of like Norse or whatever. You're a Viking that gets dropped on an island and you just have to like survive. So you find food, you build shelter, you make things, craft all sorts of stuff. It takes me out of my head and sticks me in a fantasy realm where I can do things that I can't do in real life. So it's kind of a soothing way of being able to express, like being able to cook, being able to build things that I wouldn't be able to do here in reality, But that's the core of it is taking me out of my head and giving me a chance to do things that aren't real, but feel
That
that way.
That's fascinating because when
Yeah.
you first started saying that, I was like, I was so stressed. I was like, you're getting put down on an island. Like, now you have to survive. Like, are you okay? Like,
But then when you told me the how and the why, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that makes so much sense because when we're going through trauma, we feel helpless. We feel
Yep.
powerless. And so you have found a marvelous way to counteract that and
Yeah.
bring in creativity. That's so cool.
Yeah. And I would say so it sounds stressful being dropped on an island and you're basically naked. You do have, your
Jesus, this is
junk's covered.
escalating.
This is escalating. Your junk's covered, but that's part of the journey is you have to figure out how to make fire, build that shelter. There will be enemies, but they're generally in the very beginning, you're in the meadows, so the enemies and things there are very few. You're basically leveling your character up in stages,
Yeah,
but in a survival way, and you have control of basically everything. You can reshape the land, do things like cut trees down, plant gardens, just
I
ugh.
see what you're doing. You are saying I'm sticking it to that fucking watercolor, man.
Yeah, yeah. It is the opposite of watercolor. It is, I'm
Yeah.
in control of this world. It is my world. And yes, there are things that are a little stressful, and sometimes you die and you have to go back and get all your stuff. Yeah, yeah, you do. Sometimes you come up against a boar and it hits you a couple times and you go, "Bleh," but
Yeah.
you come back for sure. Yeah,
Life lessons.
exactly. And then you just keep going. It's challenging enough that it's not boring.
Yeah.
Because if it's not at least a little bit challenging, it'll be boring as hell, and you're just like, oh, I don't even like this. But
Tell that to me the next time I'm playing solitaire and I'm racing the clock and I'm like, the fucking cards. This is not the card I need.
I don't play time solitaire for that very reason. Nope. I haven't played
I'm like,
solitaire.
ah!
So do you like Minesweeper?
I was very good at that as a child, and my friends were always like, I don't understand. Like, what is this game? And I would be like, I don't know. I'm just clicking shit. And I guess I had good luck because I didn't
Yeah,
know
maybe.
either.
My mom, same. Because I'd just be like, la 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 la, and my mom would be like,
Yeah.
she's like, you can do it with math, and I'm like, fuck math. I don't want math.
Red three, and I don't like red. So I'm gonna go over here to the blue number two.
Exactly. Yeah, she was very good at that game, but not luck. She just could just go through each one.
That's
But yeah.
crazy.
Oh God.
That's
Ah,
that's a
makes me
little alarming to me. I'm like, oh. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna ask a few more to wrap us up.
Okay.
Okay. How has your understanding of strength changed as you've moved through trauma? And what do you now consider powerful that maybe once you might have said was weak or broken?
Ooh. Okay, I have strength has changed dynamics for me so many times. It's been like a steady, different kind of change. It's just been slowly with processing and things. Strength used to be I can hold a job, I can take care of my kid, I can spend time with friends and family. I can support myself mentally, physically, emotionally. And then that transformed after my divorce and in when my son was diagnosed with autism. He was 2.5, and my idea of strength was flipped completely upside down. I had to reformulate what it meant to be a mom to a special needs child and what it took to be strong in the face of divorce, being a single mom, supporting both of us, all sorts of things. And then it's been, I say about a decade, when my physical stuff started. It started off slow, was just one little thing, and it has slowly progressed. So, strength over this last decade physically has been what can I still do despite my disability? Despite this thing that's limiting me, like not riding motorcycles anymore. Therapy and counseling and all that stuff started right after losing my ability to ride because that was my therapy.
Yeah.
Like just the freedom of being able to go out on my bike and feel the wind in my face and just go wherever I wanted to. Oof. Yeah. So strength now is how can I get help? How can I, with that help, support myself? What things can I still do? And how can I still contribute even though I'm not a productive member of society? You know? Wow. And how do I keep going every single day? Because every single day is hard for me physically, mentally, and emotionally. So there are days when I have to just stay in bed or ugly snot cry in the shower because
Feel that.
it's, oh my God, there's more room on the outside. So that's another coping thing too. When things are so heavy and I'm just like stuck and I need to get that out, I just go in the shower, and as soon as the water hits my face, it comes out, and I cry, and I snot, and just everything. It's better in the shower, folks. I'm just saying. You use less
That's clear.
trees.
Use
You're
less
using
street.
you use less trees, okay? You use more water, but at least you're
We're
able to just
considerate even when we're falling apart.
yes, right? Like, but it's gross having snot everywhere and having to wipe it off on things and stuff. So I'm like, I need to shower more often. That's a thing that depression makes you not want to do. So when I need to release that, I just get in the shower, even if I'm just rinsing off and
Multitask.
multitask.
Get it
Yeah.
done. Okay, let me see. Oh, here's a good one. I don't know if you're ready for this one.
Hey, hit me.
Do you remember the first time you felt like your words mattered? And what was that moment like for you?
Ooh, yes. Um, the first time my words mattered and the impact that that had also relates to a question you've asked me already in text. So I went to a counselor and I was with him for a year and a half, give or take. And we had to part ways. I had to cold turkey stop going to him because the first time that I actually cried in his session and just spilled beans about my major depressive disorder and the things that I'd gone through and stuff like that, he basically dismissed me. Yeah, I was so shocked. I have a picture by Sean Koss or Cross. He does illustrations of mental health things like
Yep.
schizophrenia, major depression, everything like that. And it is so vivid. I'll send you a picture. Actually, I have a blog post on that, so you'll get to that one too.
I think I just
Um,
saw that one a minute ago.
Probably, yeah, it's like just this
The
like
haggard thing leaning
yes,
over. Yeah.
that is fantastic depiction and so accurate. I took that because I bought a print and put it in a frame. I took that with me to that therapy session and showed him this is what I feel like inside and all that
Yeah.
stuff and just dismissed me. So I was like, nope, not going back. So I found another therapist and I went to that appointment and it was 2 hours long, as most of them are, intakes are. At the end of it, he said, you have major depressive disorder and anxiety and probably schizophrenia. And I looked at him, I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, I'm kidding. So this was this was a funny way of connecting, and I love that kind of sense of humor. So I was like, this guy's the one. I'm really glad. So the second session that I went to, he was like, I have Amy and she's learning how to do things and she needs time in session to learn and whatnot. Are you okay with that? I was like, yeah, bring it on. So that was the first session that I talked about what happened to me when I was 5 years old in Seattle with the plague and um, our wolf companion, Chicomi. I've written about that in the blog too. So when I talked about that and family meetings, I might have mentioned that somewhere in my blog, but basically it was 3 hours of being yelled at, screamed at, belittled, and then we would get beaten with a belt afterwards.
Yep.
Amy looked at me like wow, and that was the first time outside of friends, that another adult, him, my therapist, and Amy both, like, holy shit, that was terrible. And I was like, just talking like it was another Tuesday, because that was normal for me. That was the first time that I felt legitimately heard. And in that moment, it was a mix of, damn, that really was bad, and being validated by another adult in that moment was like a huge relief and shockingly so, you know?
Like you took off a heavy backpack that you hadn't even realized you'd been carrying that was like tons of weight. Yeah.
Yeah. That weight became lighter that day, and that was another instant connection too, because I'd connected with Dr. Phil, which his nickname is Dr. Phil because his name is Philip. I asked him what I call him, and he's like, "You can call me whatever you want. I've probably heard all of it." And when I came back and told him that, Dr. Phil, he was like, "Ah, damn it. That's a new one." Like, "You're welcome."
Really? No one had called him that before. Fascinating.
Because it's Dr. Philip or Dr. Brown or
Yeah.
Dr. Asshole. He's heard that too, you know? But yeah, my best friend Shelly actually goes to him now and calls him Dr. Phil too. So I let that torch be passed.
Started a revolution.
Viva la revolution. Anyway, yeah.
Hey, I like that though. Let me see. I'll ask you maybe like two more.
Okay.
Actually, I forgot I had double booked podcast tonight, so I have another one starting in 15 minutes.
Snap.
Oops. Honestly, the more I am getting in touch with who I really am and I'm letting go of the perfectionist, I am so type B. I'm like, I am literally out here like don't even know what I'm doing half the time, but it's fine. Here for it. Which prior to me, I was very straight-laced, very like,
Rigid.
yeah, so bad, so bad.
You don't seem like that type though.
Really?
Yo, yeah. You seem like the carefree, just wispy and love and light and sparkles and go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do no harm, take no shit.
exactly.
Don't bully my friends. Fuck off. Do you guys want to go like play and dance and
But
sit
here's
in the
some
woods?
glitter.
Yeah, that's totally me. But like the trauma does this thing to you where it's like, and my Dementor after that, there was a before him and there was an after him.
Hmm.
And that kind of copied my relationship with my dad. But that there wasn't ever a before and after because that's how complex trauma is, you know, like it just is.
It
But
is.
that relationship, there was a before and an after.
Oh
And the
yeah.
after was I was so type A and straight-laced and just naggy and perfectionist. Oh gosh, it was exhausting. But here we are.
Yay.
Back bitches. Okay. Okay, here's a fun one.
Okay.
If your healing journey had a soundtrack, what would be the song right now?
Ooh, fun but hard. My healing journey. Can it be an entire album?
Yeah.
My favorite band is Pink Floyd. Dark Side of the Moon, the whole fucking album.
That is like my entire, like the good bits of my childhood summed up was literally just like, ugh. And then going and watching like tribute bands. Even now, I'm still just like,
And Disturbed, The Sound of Silence.
ooh,
Have you heard that version?
yes.
I listened to that shit on repeat for weeks.
Mhm.
God,
That one reminds me of okay, what is this song called? So it's Breaking Benjamin, and he's saying "Rain, Rain, Go Away." I don't know what it's called. I'm gonna look it up.
I'm gonna have to look that up because I don't think I've heard that.
It's called Rain. It's called
Okay.
Rain.
Breaking
I
Benjamin, Rain.
Yeah, I love Breaking Benjamin
Sticky notes.
and that song.
Okay, Breaking Benji.
Okay,
Okay.
let me see the last one. That's so many questions. I had high hopes for
We
this
can do a
interview.
second. I
What
mean,
what do I have?
Anadonia could be a separate one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I have two. So
Okay.
if someone finds your blog during what someone might call a dark night of the soul or difficult moments of their healing journey, what do you hope that they walk away from that feeling when they get to your blog and they walk away from your blog?
I would first hope that it helps them know that they are not alone. It feels like you're alone so fucking much, but you're not. And that it's okay to not be okay. You know, I'm not healed by any means. The healing process is probably going to take the rest of my life, but I am so okay with that. I would hope that they could just enjoy the dark humor, the regular humor, the tragic, the sad, and walk away feeling content at the very least. And yeah,
Yeah.
content in that they're not alone.
Well, we're going to share the link to your blog in the show notes if that's okay.
That is totally fine.
Okay. So last one, if someone is listening to this and they're not in a place to maybe they don't have the insurance, they can't go to therapy, they don't have access to art therapy, maybe they're not sure how to start a blog. Let's just say that they listen to this and they're like, "Okay, well, I'm in this place. I really like this episode. This is cool. What can we help them walk away with in terms of what can they do?"
Cry in the shower first. That is absolutely one of the most relieving things. And you're not going to feel super great, but you will feel more calm and more centered. Starting a blog, at least with WordPress, is really simple. They do have basic ones that don't cost money. So you can go on there and just start something. They have tons of themes. Just pick one and you start writing. And you don't have to do it every day. You can do it weekly. You know, if you don't have access, whether it's because you lack the area or the stuff in the area, I used to live in a black hole. That's what I called it back in Arkansas. If you live in a black hole like I used to, the internet is your best friend. Go online, YouTube, Reddit, anything, and find some videos that show you how to do art because there are butt tons of those. I even use them myself because I'm like, okay, how do I do this in watercolor? Because, I don't recommend starting with watercolor. If you're gonna do any sort of artistic painting, maybe draw or do acrylics or just use crayons if you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, paper and crayons. It seems childish, but it's not. And then maybe it'll pique some of that childlike stuff inside and get that out too. Even
Yeah.
if you're just like, it does help. You can do those things for very little money or free. And I think they have, if you've got like a Goodwill or something, they've got lots of stuff there that you can repurpose. But yeah, definitely do a couple things that are expressive. Write, draw, color, adult coloring books. Fuck yeah. I have a whole box of those right underneath my desk right here.
The pretty little swear words.
Yes, I think I
Yep.
have one of those. I don't know where it is, but I do have one.
Bitch.
Fuck. uh,
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that you wanted to add for this episode?
Hang in there. That's it. Hang in there. I know it's hard. One day, one moment at a time.
Yeah. And you've,
Yep.
you've shared cry about it, release it. It's
Yep.
figure outable.
Yep.
Take the next step. Don't give up.
The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. That is Lao Tzu from the Tao Te Ching. It is a quote on my blog at the very bottom.
There you go.
And on this ring that my best friend gave me when I got divorced.
Wow.
Yep.
I love that. Words to live by.
Yep. Absolutely.
Thanks for spending time in the Reclamation Room. Be sure to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if this supported you, consider sharing it or leaving a review. You're not alone, and your reclamation is sacred.